Well, the data in many ways speaks for itself. It does take local advocates both in government and in civil society to make that change. And the ICAAD team, as you've heard, has developed an intensive Train the Trainers program to prepare local advocates with the tools they need to do exactly that. Last week, we concluded our first training cohort in Samoa, who are now prepared to train others. The highly interactive training includes frameworks for understanding how patriarchy and toxic masculinity drive gender-based violence, the latest TrackGBV data specific to that jurisdiction, as well as international best practices and a comprehensive discussion about what needs to change. Now, our next speaker was a part of that cohort, and we're so lucky to have her here today. Loukinikini Vili is the Director of Human Rights at Samoa's Office of the Ombudsman and the National Human Rights Institution. She's a lawyer by trade and a passionate human rights advocate. Kini will be sharing a bit about her experience in the training and how the cohort envisions it going forward. Over to you, Kini.
Thank you very much, Erin, for the introduction. Talafalava to everyone that is participating in this launch. And first of all, I would also like to congratulate ICAAD for the launch of the TrackGBV Dashboard. And secondly, thank you for the opportunity given to me to share not only some of my experiences, but also for the rest of my other two colleagues that had joined the training 7 weeks ago. Now, what was the training like? I guess I can say that I'm happy that I made the decision to say yes to the training at first. When Erin sent me the invitation, the main thing that caught my attention and interest was reviewing GBV sentencing decisions in Samoa through the TrackGBV program, which analyzes sentencing decisions to monitor gender-based and gender bias and discrimination. This was an interest for me because, to my knowledge, Samoa has not done something like this. And in my opinion, we need to have one for so many reasons, but importantly, to ensure that the survivor is given the justice they deserve in the court. Now, I must say that the training was well thought through in terms of the way it was designed and put together to be held virtually. And as we all know, virtual workshops is never the same as face-to-face training. The training was well delivered by our brilliant facilitators, the ICAAD team. The content was easy to understand and follow, so very simple and not technical. What was surprising about the training? I think I am safe to say that for the three of us that participated in the training, so two from my office, myself and another colleague in my team, and one from the Ministry of Justice, that it was not what we had expected from the beginning. What I mean by this is we knew that we were going to review GBV sentencing decisions, but we didn't know that it was going to be this comprehensive and the type of information that was going to be presented to us. The training not only showed us information of the trend in these sentencing decisions, but it definitely got us thinking about a lot of things, and some of them include what was the judge thinking when they gave the decision, or what type of information that was provided to the judge that influenced their decision. When we were analyzing some of Samoa's GBV sentencing decisions, we were able to identify and discuss different gender bias and discrimination, and how patriarchy and toxic masculinity in Samoa drive GBV. What was surprising were the contentious factors used in mitigation by the judges in their decisions, which clearly discriminated against the victim or the survivor on the basis of gender. So some of these contentious factors that were surprising included gender stereotyping and rape myths. For an example, the young victim consented. Provocation based on rumors of the victim's infidelity, as Erin alluded to in her opening speech. Also, the perpetrator's good character, such as holding a position or attends to his church calling. The perpetrator also, looking also as at the perpetrator having a bright future ahead of him. And in addition to that was his first-time offender status. Now, another thing that also surprised us was how much of a cut or decrease in the sentences, or in some of the cases, suspended sentences based on these contentious factors. there was clearly a lack of victim survivor center approach when determining sentencing decisions. But we also thought, and I know that I guess this shouldn't be an excuse, that this is also not surprising because we feel that some of our judiciary are not experts in GBV, let alone human rights. So they may not have that human rights or GBV knowledge or information to make a more informed sentencing decision. What was hopeful for us is that we saw that something can be done, and that it's not too late to make the necessary change. We have now completed the training on the TrackGBV in Samoa last week. We have been equipped with all this useful and important information that others are not aware of. This information is that hope that we can share with relevant individuals or organizations that we see can also make a change in their respective areas. How do we envision others in Samoa reacting to the GBV data for Samoa? I believe others may react the same as we did. It's one thing to read about reported cases on the media and talk about it, and it's one thing to actually be presented with solid and reliable data and information such as the TrackGBV. As my colleague from the Ministry of Justice said in our last session, I quote, "This approach, the TrackGBV, is effective in driving change," end of quote. What she meant by this is that people need to see the evidence, what the picture of the data looks like, because it is only then they can appreciate the severity of the situation and encourage or motivate change. I also think that others may also be surprised with the data and analysis as we did, but at the same time, very appreciative that we finally have something concrete, relevant, and comprehensive as was illustrated by Jyoti, because this will be the foundation of informing the necessary changes in mindsets and attitudes, policies, programs, and activities, and of course, in sentencing decisions to remove judicial bias and discrimination. And lastly, what opportunities do we see to use the training and the dashboard in going forward? I think at the end of the training, we managed to identify a few opportunities that we can engage with in using this training and dashboard. We have looked in our already existing work that this can best fit. For an example, our amicus function as an NHRI, we can provide the necessary information to the judges through our submissions. And that may include using the data and information from the TrackGBV, or even the possibility of engaging them in a joint capacity building workshop. We have also felt that this work requires not just focusing on the judiciary, but a collective effort of everyone that may impact judges' decisions. And this, for an example, the Ministry of Justice has already identified areas in their work that they need to revisit and strengthen. For instance, ensuring the probation reports they operate, that they prepare, include all relevant information for the judges. Engage and ensure the Attorney General's office to prepare a more detailed victim impact report of the victim instead of just the one page. Now, we have also looked outside of our offices of other possible opportunities that we can engage with other agencies to also equip them with this knowledge that we have gained. And this includes the prosecutors, the Attorney General's office, the police, our Samoa Law Society, and also our NGOs and the law and justice sector. And on that note, I would like to thank ICAAD once again, the ICAAD team once again for the opportunity that was extended to Samoa to be a part of this very important and relevant training. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Kini. Wow, I think we definitely said it last week, but we were also very lucky to have you all as our training cohort. And I know the other facilitators agree. Just the energy and vigor that you bring to the work, the everyday work that you do, in addition to the work, the anti-violence piece, has been really inspiring for us as well. We didn't really know what we were getting into for the virtual training. Obviously, it wasn't ideal. But we are so happy with the way it worked out and really, really excited to continue working with you all going forward.